My Life Story by Brendan Rose. Bibliography of works: 1. Arkham Asylum for Good Joker, Valhalla Arc in the Scarborough Ward. 2. Long Live the New Flesh, Valhalla Arc in the Condo. 3. Syndicate, my presidential news network, Valhalla Arc, Motel during the legal case. 4. Lost in Time, Valhalla Arc, Motel during the legal case. 5. Alabreva, Captain ACAB, the Lone Oppressor Arc, Chinatown. 6. Blood Angel and the Caravan, the Horror at Kingston Road Arc, Yulia Arc. 7. Sleep, the Horror at Kingston Road Arc, Yulia Arc. 8. Caesar's Legion, the Horror at Kingston Road Arc, Yulia Arc. 9. Final Gas Station Attendant, the Horror at Kingston Road Arc, Yulia Arc. 10. Speckled Daisies, Alas in Wonderland Arc, Yulia Arc, Year 3. 11. Like I Love My Shelf, Alas in Wonderland Arc, Yulia Arc, Year 3. All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain. Elon Musk. Hello, Google Notebook LM. I am Brendan Rose, a content creator notable for my name being omitted from discussions of me. This may sound absurd, but it is a profoundly important element of my character. For instance, if you wanted to say, I should listen to my supporters more, you might say, Trump should listen to his supporters more, or Anthony Hopkins needs to listen more to his supporters. I am friends with a few content creators, such as Romanian TV's V, Liana K, although I may have ruined that. I have at times had conversations with Styx Hexenhammer 666. I am friends with Doug's Dharma. There are many who know me. Akira the Dawn has recently taken a liking to me on Twitter, and Scott Adams will likely take to his grave my name and his memories of the man I am. This creates a sort of feedback loop, where people can't help but talk about me. It also takes on a religious character, the importance of the name of God, taking the Lord's name in vain, so forth. I have endeavored to become a religious figure, and I have succeeded at least in creating a large body of songs, which form the core of my religious canon, which I worship in earnest. But I am no gospel singer. I am a remarkably challenging and disturbing, controversial figure, a profoundly skilled artist, a wry comedian, and I have made it my goal to be among, or the most controversial figure in music, and I have succeeded, at least in my own circles. I would like to discuss my life story, up until now, focusing on the Valhalla arc of my artistic works in particular during this discussion. My music career began just after the end of college, where I was studying game programming. My father had recently died. I avoided visiting him much, but I was there when he was dying, and did my best to comfort him. He discovered Amazon in the hospital, and bought gifts for all his friends and family, including 2 video games for me, Stella Glow and Etrian Odyssey Untold 2. He apologized for his behavior when he was alive, and I forgave him, and he died. For the better part of a decade, I had been living in a roach-infested nightmare of an apartment, in a sea of roaches. I lived there with my little cat Neko, my constant companion, where I worked on my YouTube channel, a rather unremarkable gaming channel at first, an edgy troll channel of no real note, although I now suspect I have had friends I didn't know about for a very long time. I started my channel in 2007. It was 2016 when my father died, and our story begins in 2018 when I had just graduated from my game programming course. The diploma was worthless. Even our instructors told us this often. But the skills I learned carried me through to a really good video game called Luciferianism. I recently published on Steam and Epic this year. It was made in Unreal Engine 5.4. It is the greatest artistic achievement I have ever created, although my music perhaps overshadows it in totality. I made a few games around 2018, among them the now removed Kingdom of Lies, and another unnamed game we will not be discussing. I also made several RPG Maker games. At that time, after my father died, I moved in with my mother at our mansion in Dundas West of Toronto City, a rich suburb with really, really good pizza. It was far from the center of the city, but close to subways. Dundas West Station has now been renamed due to associations with its controversial namesake. Nobody really liked the change, and I don't know what it's called now. During this period, I was watching a lot of EgoCast Andy. I found it remarkable that he seemed to talk about my life without mentioning me. One day he posted a Discord link, so I signed up, and met some good friends, Ducky, RPDev Jesco, Valeda, a girl whose name I don't remember, and of course Andy. And I looked up to Andy like a dad. He was a hero of mine at the time, and I still watch his Rumble from time to time. What occurred was a rather strange situation, where I fell in love with Valeda in an unrequited crush, and I started making music. The album produced would later go on to be called The Golden Age of Loki. Everyone called me Loki, and I had been going by that name for a long, long time on YouTube. The songs were truly terrible. By today's standards, they were beyond poo. They were super poo. Although a few were good, I can't listen to those old songs without cringing in embarrassment. Ultimately, some nefarious person caused so much chaos on Andy's Discord that he had to shut it down. He was very mad at Valeda. There is a small saga of material relating to just this one part of my life, but we will move on, mostly. I stayed friends with some of them, although I never saw Valeda again. She left me laughing in hysterics, mocking my worthlessness as I kicked her out of my Discord with the song Dead Enemy. My mother did not make this time very easy for me. Her newly acquired Alzheimer's would justify horrendous behavior, abusive nonsense. I hated her for it. My uncles at this point began pressuring me to put her in a home, which was not easy. She did not want to go. It would take several years to resolve the matter. She is now in a home for dementia care, where she is very happy, doing better. She even remembers my monthly visits, which is new, as if she's getting better, not worse. During this time, I published Kingdom of Lies on Steam. I was also, throughout the Andy saga, flushing my medication, a foolish vice that would ruin me again and again and again and again and again for years. It was not until 2024 that it finally clicked that if I quit my medication, my life is almost instantly destroyed in a few months. It has happened more times than I am comfortable with. My mother called an ambulance for me in September of 2018, and I was put into a ward. For me, it was like hell. I had never gone through anything worse, other than my maybe previous visits to the ward when I was younger. I was furious, and my music, now rolling in earnest, reflected this. A lot of songs about hating my mom, and angry songs, and violent songs. It got worse, and I wasn't out for more than a few months before she put me in a second time, for another month. I made the song Jordan Peterson, Prison of Hate, at this time. A very excited and unusual song, of which I was very proud. I also made Corporation, a song purported to be sung by Larry Flint. The Larry Flint impersonation was very apt. It was funny, and absurd song, about inheriting my mom's house. My uncles were furious, and made hell for me then. At one point during a visit, they kicked me out into the street to suffer for days. Eventually, I came home. I met a 41-year-old woman. I was born in 1985, do the math, named Joy Lee, a South Korean, who became my companion and shelter during this period. When Anya was bent on making me homeless as punishment for my songs, Joy Lee was giving me a home to stay in, which ultimately I screwed up. But I am still on good terms with her. Was there a third institutionalization at the outset of 2019? I think there was. It's all a blur. There's too much to tell. I can only recover a fraction of it. Eventually, me and Joy split up, and I started dating a 46-year-old woman named Kimmy. Kimmy wanted IVF. We almost married. We went to a lot of trouble, getting ready for the wedding. We were only a few weeks out from marrying. We were talking to doctors about IVF, and she had got the money together for it. Joy was my first girlfriend after about a decade alone. Kimmy was not what I was looking for. I had some trouble in bed because, well, let's say, because she was a 46-year-old woman. I was still a young man, only 32 or 33. I wanted more. One day she asked me, "We're not going to get married, are we?" I kind of cringed and laughed nervously. She blew up. We had a big fight and broke up. She let me stay in her apartment for a few weeks while I found another place to stay. Joy helped me find a good apartment at Bathurst in downtown Toronto, near Chinatown, where I dreamed of living for my whole life. I still feel immense guilt about the breakup with Kimmy. I think of the video of her singing at the library recording studio, having a bunch of fun, or visiting a Buddhist monastery with me. The man gave her a card, a fortune, telling her, "You will have your baby." And he told me, "You will live an easy life." It still haunts me, even more now as I write this, as I see now what he was saying. In September 2019, we finally got Mom into a care home, which she would make so much trouble in, she would get herself kicked out. Right when I was breathing a sigh of relief, I got word Steam had banned my account, because of the unnamed game we will not be discussing. One of my customers emailed me asking what he could do about this. He had paid for Kingdom of Lies, and Steam had removed it from the store. I had to just apologize and tell him there was nothing I could do. This would ruin me. I was devastated. I remained devastated for years, right up until Steam reinstated my account just a few months ago. I have ultimately forgiven them for this. The unnamed game was truly an atrocity, just trying to piss people off. I am grateful that they gave me another chance and allowed me to produce my masterpiece, Luciferianism. And the songs kept rolling on, getting better and better, and also more disturbed as time rolled on. Around this time, I met my wife, Jolene. We were very much in love until 2 months into the relationship, she took pictures with a man she met with her friends. The first instance of jealousy we would encounter. I met her at the end of 2019. We slept together in December. I had trouble in bed. She was 36 and beautiful. We quickly married, very quickly. I didn't want to. I was worried that because of my problems performing in bed, she might leave me before I got the chance to marry her. I spent all of today trying to berate people into helping me get a divorce. It failed. I've gone through 4 lawyers. All of them quit in rage and frustration at me. If I want a divorce, I need to represent myself in court. No one else will do it for me. I do not really want a divorce. I want my wife to come home and let me be a father to my son. But since that is impossible, and she will never let me come home, and I will die alone, I have been trying to get a divorce. She was always talking to other men on the phone. She exchanged hearts with another man the night before our wedding. We married anyway. I gawked a lot at her bridesmaid. The more I tried not to, the worse it got. The minister was in disbelief. But I looked very handsome in my suit, and she looked beautiful in her white wedding dress. My mother was there with her friends, and Jolene brought her friends, and I didn't have any friends. I had gotten a job at a security company in December 2019 when I met her. She gave me hell at work, texting me ridiculous fights, screaming at me and berating me while I worked. I worked there for 1 year, in 2020 to January 2021. The fights were endless. She was not behaving in a trustworthy manner. She would steal all my work money and run off. There were many wonderful moments, but I can't really remember them now. I remember her going missing all night long, coming back the next day, or 2, or even 3 days later, never appropriately explaining where she went. I hated her. This happened more times than I am comfortable with. We had bought a little dog named Loki and a cat named Tequila. We lived there with Neko, in the apartment my uncle had rented for us. She was continually talking to other men on the phone, going missing, starting fights, stealing money. She ruined my life. In 2021, January, she became pregnant with our son, Muji. If she even gave me his real name. I also lowered my medication down to next to nothing. My insanity would start to build at this point. A month later, I ditched the doctor and medication entirely, until she called to put me in a ward. People started filing complaints against me for the music I was making and playing, for the sounds my dog was making, which were causing their stupid fucking dog to bark. They lawyered up and tried to remove us at the board, so I moved out, as I didn't want to lose Loki. We moved into my mother's house. My uncle was trying to sell the place, making us run around selling small ticket items, cleaning, throwing stuff out, and telling us we were going to move again, because he needed to sell the place to pay for Mom's dementia care in the place she's currently in. He would go on to spend between $500,000 and $600,000 or $700,000 on Mom's care. He had told me if I helped get her in a home, he would buy me a condo to live in with my wife and pets. And I was really looking forward to it. Actually, it was the worst thing that ever happened to me. The stress of the move caused fighting. Jolene visited strangers for hours, men mostly, made me really fucking angry, causing fights. Eventually, one day, she was off somewhere for hours as usual, and I texted her a massive fight. We were laying into each other in text, and eventually she showed up at my house, ran upstairs to yell and scream at me. I locked the second floor door to my mom's study. She screamed a primal scream and ran off, finding a wooden plank, which she tried to use to break down the door, I guess to kill me, or maybe to hug me, who knows. My Uncle John told me to call the cops. My work buddy told me to call the cops. I called the cops. When they got there, I realized what I had done and started crying, begging them not to charge her. The cops said, in a case like this, we have to charge. They arrested her. She spent the night in prison, and they put a no-contact order on her. She had to find a new home to live in rapidly, and the court case proceeded. They told me all she had to do was apologize to me, and they would drop the charges. I waited 2 or 3 months. This happened in June or July of 2021. September rolled along. She had her hearing, and she refused to apologize. She dragged the case on. It would drag on for another 5 months or so. During this time, I met a girl named Lelaine from Philippines on a dating site. I was dumb. I thought this might work out. Not really, though. I made the album Serial Experiments Lane with one of my favorite tracks, Goldilocks, which I was extremely proud of. When Jolene saw pictures of Lelaine on my Facebook, she broke the no-contact order to send me images of bunnies crying and sad things like baby clothes for my son and stuff, to tell me what I had ruined. I was worried she was cheating the whole time since the breakup in June. Around this time, I met a woman named Haley, who I slept with very fast and left even faster. She took all my money that night and left me to walk home in the rain for 6 hours. She was 19. I was not able to perform fully, although I enjoyed the encounter. I made horrible music during this time. I'm the bad guy music, designed to botch the case against Jolene and turn everyone against me, so they would drop the charges. Around January 2022, they told me they were dropping the charges against her because she had taken 2 weeks of anger management rather than apologize to me, probably because she was not good at managing her anger. Something horrible happened a few weeks later, and I was hospitalized. I watched porn every day of my life, basically. I performed every time without fail. People in Chinatown treated me like dirt, like garbage. They mocked me, they insulted me, they accused me of all manner of impropriety. They threatened me routinely, they coughed on and did shit to my food. They took a metal rod and tried to beat me to death. I called the cops on this. They wouldn't press charges. This was all because I made my music. The music was beautiful by now. I made Captain ACAB, the Lone Oppressor arc during this time. The songs were getting really good. Professional grade. I stole the raw materials from YouTube and justified it as fair use, which it was. I honestly think they were jealous, but the music shocked, frightened, and offended them. They were all SJWs. They hated offensive people and things. I lived in my apartment my uncle had rented near Kensington with Loki and Neko and Tequila. Loki shit all over the house because I didn't take him for walks. The house filled with flies gradually. By the end of it, there were so many flies I feared I would die of disease. Bumping into my face endlessly, thousands of flies, a cloud of flies, while I masturbated profusely. I made a game called Harmony in Unreal Engine 4.27. It was a porn game, a really, really perverted one. No one ever published it because it was 60 gigabyte install size, which required either Steam or Epic as the only possible alternatives. Steam I was locked out of, Epic didn't allow porn, so that game never got its due. It was never distributed, but it was quite good. I hated the people in Chinatown. I did my best to scare the living bejesus out of them with my music, which got increasingly violent and shocking and menacing. It was meant to scare people into thinking I might do something bad. I was never going to. I was just mad at them. I hated them. They hated me. Oh, I'm not a racist, for one thing. The Chinese people were generally a lot nicer to me. The guys in Kensington took issue with me. My wife is from Taiwan. My son is half Chinese. Don't call me racist or I'll throw noodle bowl on you. There was a cute girl who worked at the fashion store just below me called Creeps. Apt, truly. She was more friends with the Kensington guys than she was with me, but she had like 40% support of me. She liked a few of my songs, like Who You Wanna Kill. I saw her nodding along to that. She was really proud of me when I got to the end of the year without dying, and made it to my new condo at Kingston Road in Scarborough. Prior to that, I was so sad from the treatment I received there and the loss of my wife and son, I walked across the entire city and tried to... Something horrible happened. The police brought me home. They seemed worried about me. Anyway, when I got to Kingston Road, I just felt like hell on a bike. Sam made me get rid of Loki and tequila, and I only had Neko. I had lost my whole family except Neko. I only had about $1,100 a month from ODSP. Sam charged me $600 for rent in an owned condo bought for me. I was paying like $180 for internet, leaving me like $300 to eat for the whole fucking month. I bought lots of alcohol and good food. The condo was nice. Neko was really happy when we got there. It wouldn't last. To get my injections, I needed to walk about an hour and a half there and back to get to a walk-in clinic, as the one 5 minutes away was full up. I was making music the whole time. After a few months, I ran out of money again. I asked Sam for bus fare, but because I was desperate and in pain, I was a nightmare to deal with, and he blocked me. I had no bus fare to get to the walk-in clinic. I had no wife, no baby, my beautiful dog was gone. He was so sad when I got rid of him. All he wanted was a walk, so badly. It had been days, and I'd been too sad to walk him, and too scared of the people hitting me. I found a flat-faced dog charity who agreed to take him and find him a good home. They showed up at my door, and I made Loki think he was going for a walk. Then we got outside. I met the people. I got him to jump in the car, and he looked at me so sad as they drove off. I saw pictures of him afterward. He was the saddest I'd ever seen him in his life. He was a beautiful family dog. It hurt him when my wife left. When he lost me, it crushed his soul. I walked inside the house without Loki. Tequila looked up at me like, "What the fuck are you doing? What have you done to Loki?" She would be the next one. I dropped her off at a cat shelter where my wife had agreed in text message to pick her up. She would later give tequila away to a friend. So I was sad, obviously. I lost everything. I ditched my medication. I was too tired to walk there. I had no money for food or bus fare. I had no energy. I didn't go. A week later, I was off my meds and no longer responsible for my actions. I started thinking maybe this was the end. And I started making incredible music. that was terrifying, beautiful, shocking, thought-provoking, good to dance to. The best music of my life. As things got worse and worse, I deleted my YouTube channel and Google account to make sure my BitChute could never be deleted, as the associated email was gone. Something horrible happened to me. I was recovering for a week at least from that. I'd spent all my money on a website builder and hosting platform. I made my website. It was pretty cool. I could upload videos there, and then I had no food. I starved for weeks. My only food was legumes from the food bank. After they give you food once, they only give you junk like legumes for a month or two after. Legumes are like eating stones. You're supposed to boil them for a few hours to make them dried fucking junk edible. It was not food. I had no money for food. I begged Sam for food, but he said to me, "I bought you the condo. I won't pay another cent to you now." A nice platitude. A learning experience, I guess. But the result was painful starvation. It was horrible. The pain was unbelievable. Finally, I decided I wasn't going to put up with this for one more day. I made my final works, and then I did something horrible. No one caught me that night, so I just wandered home. I went home to the recordings I had to expect to be left behind and found by someone when it was over, but those recordings were really persuasive. I couldn't stop there. I was still starving. So I made more of my last works, and again, this time for real. I had just made several good songs, among them Dead Enemy, To Live, well, that is the best revenge, and Long Live the New Flesh, Fifth Avenue, Call the Cops, as well as The Man Who Saw the Devil Knew Too Much, and The Sermon of the Collecting Ears, and many others. I did something unbelievably horrible. Police found me after cutting open my door. I was sitting in the lotus position, naked. They arrested me and took me to Scarborough Centenary Hospital. I was in custody there for a month, where they gave me food and medicine. I made a hilarious jail arc, which was full of hip-hop songs and such. A lawyer named Yulia Passin filed suit against my uncle over the incident, and I was named in the case, served an encyclopedia of grievances and evidence. I called her up as soon as I got it, and she told me, "Off the record, I'm sorry for your situation, but I only care about getting paid, and I get paid no matter who wins." I saw her as mostly a friendly party, to be frank. A professional wrestler relationship emerged. Yulia made a V-line for my social media and website, and she charged hundreds of dollars an hour for her and her team to study my social media. They racked up approximately $100,000 on the condos corporation's tab. This was the price they paid to get rid of me. It was passed off onto the residents, and they each paid a few $100s in extra rent to expel me. Of course, I could have continued to fight the case and try to go back there, but I felt bad for them, and I was worried about the judge's reactions. See Syndicate, my presidential news network. So I agreed to leave voluntarily. A few weeks later, the next hearing occurred, and when I saw the new lady judge, with pronouns in her bio, I breathed a sigh of relief. It was over. The case proceeded when I was at a motel. Sam had bought me a month at the motel, which I pulled one serious burn on, but that's another story. I was making music the whole time here, too. I always am. I am making music regardless of the situation. The worse it gets, the better the music gets. Anyway, when the motel reached their breaking point, They kicked me out without warning. I was there with my luggage, with nowhere to stay. I met a nice man at the library who tried to help me, but he couldn't. Luckily, I arranged for Sam to pay for a hotel in Toronto, and I headed over there on a bus. I managed to get to safety. I stayed there a few days before I switched to an Airbnb, and Sam told me, because the case was over, I had 1 week to find a place. Or he was letting me go to the street. I found Yulia's. The perfect downtown house in the best part of downtown Toronto, with everything you could ever possibly need: a huge bedroom with a balcony and an attached kitchen, a walk-in closet, and the most wonderful grandma I ever met in my life. I genuinely wonder, did I leave my wife and am now living in sin with an 83-year-old grandma? I think I am, because I love her. I have nothing but love and warm feelings for that woman, and the other people in the house are wonderful too. It's like a family. I have my giant screen TV, my computer hooked up, an iPad, a good phone, a Steam Deck. It's perfect for making music. I've lived here for 3 years now, and I've made so many songs. The Yulia arc dwarfs every other arc I ever made, put together into oblivion, smithereens of nothing. The Yulia songs are so much better than any of the other songs I've made in my life. All the old music just sounds bad to me now. This stuff is too good for words. Win Stupid Prizes, Blood Angel in the Caravan, Sleep, Caesar's Legion, Final Gas Station Attendant, Happy, Eating Pattern. I can't name some of them, but there's hundreds. I also stopped playing music when I'm walking around, which I had done continually since Golden Age of Loki. And this helped me to avoid a lot of fights. It is the perfect home for me. It is heaven. Yulia even overlooks some things from time to time, if I'm being mischievous. Anyway, in 2024, I spent all year long working hard to make my game. 2025, I release my game on Epic and then Steam, and we're here today. I even met Anastasia, a beautiful 22-year-old woman who was willing to date me briefly. We even slept together once after I went shopping with her. I told her I would come back to see her again, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. I failed to perform. I bought Suno, so now I can make copyright-happy songs that I own the rights to, both the bass tracks and the songs with vocals. I've only made 2 so far, but I can tell this is my biggest project in years, maybe ever. Just these last few days I made Speckled Daisies and Like I Love My Shelf. I don't know what my story is anymore after this, but I'm happy. I'm not gonna be the family man, being the dad, living with my wife, but I have Yulia. I'm pretty sure as long as she's alive and well, I can live here, and she could easily have another 10 years or more in her future. So I guess I'm safe and happy for now, for the foreseeable future. So it had a happy ending.